Hey, it's Anna Vaughn with Travel Mama Anna Vaughn, and this is the third part to a three-part series about Puerto Escondido, the ultimate guide to Puerto Escondido. In part one, we did Bacocho and the Rinconada. In part two, I did my favorite part of town, El Centro, and this is now part three. This is probably the most robust, the biggest, the baddest, and the one that most people who are tourists here want to know about, and that is Zicatela and La Punta. So my relationship with these two places is that I basically use them as my mom's night out spots. I don't go to Zicatela much because there's nothing to do there unless you're a tourist. There are very few restaurants that are decent. You know, restaurants on the beach all over the world, you know, serve the same garbage, deep fried stuff, very basic, very middle of the road food. Sort of like how I never eat at hotels, because it doesn't matter if you had a Four Seasons or a Hojo, you're eating the same crappy McCain chicken fingers. So there are a few places that are total gems though in Zicatela that are not to be missed if you're here. Plus, it's got a beautiful beach for cocktails at sunset. And if you like to go out and party, that is the area you do it in. The second area is called Brisa Zicatela. It's actually part of the Zicatela beach, but it's the point. And it's La Punta for that. It's what everybody calls it, La Punta. La Punta is the area where all the like yogis, surfers, like what they call hippies here. It's not my version of a hippie. That's more in like Masunte, Goa, Lago Atitlan. Like I have a certain idea of a hippie that's a lot more crunchy, you know? But the hippies for here are over there. There's a lot of young foreign families there. There's a lot of expats living in these two neighborhoods and a lot of tourists. So the good part is that's where the tourists are. There's a lot of cool restaurants. Like if you want to go eat Thai food, you gotta go to La Punta. And there's also a lot of like vegan restaurants. Mexico is filled with vegan cuisine. Mexican cuisine includes tons of vegan and vegetarian food, but there's more like vegan restaurants in the sense of meat style food made into a vegan version like they're used to in the West. There's more Western comforts, more English is spoken, more Western people. It's very hip, very hip. And also if you like surfing, I mean, Zicatela is world famous, you know, for the Mexi pipe, and that's where the big surf is. La Punta also gets its fair share of surf, and I can definitely see why you would want to live there if you want to get up every morning and go surfing, you know, and be around that vibe. So this is my guide to what I think is the best of both of those places. And I will say, if you come here as a tourist, you're just here for like a week or 10 days, La Punta is the place to stay. You know, it really, really is. That place caters to tourists. It's very hipster. It's very cool. It's not big box. It's not bullshit. There's no, you know, chain restaurants, crap like that. But you can still like speak English everywhere and get deep fried cauliflower that tastes like chicken nuggets, right? So that's the spot. Before I moved here, I always visited in La Punta, and I loved how away from it all it felt, how tiny little enclave it felt. When I looked into moving here permanently and I started looking at like schools and infrastructure and water delivery, I was like, nix that La Punta and bring me to the other side of town that has a lot more of those features. But as a vacationer, it's a great stop. I recommend it highly. So also, before we get started, you should probably like this video, hit the bell, get notified when we upload, subscribe to this shit. I know you wanna. And without further ado, here we go. Let's get started with the ultimate guide to Puerto Escondido, Zicatela and La Punta. So this is the beginning of Zicatela Beach, just coming off the Bahia Principal. These rocks kind of signify the beginning of what is a really famous beach. Sativa is the very first place on the beach that you hit when you walk up.
You know, there's a couple of other ones, but this is the first one that really makes an impression. It's beautiful inside. There's really great decor. It feels like the kind of place where you can just casually meet friends and enjoy a beautiful sunset and just relax, which is what so many people come to the beach for. They have a fantastic menu that's always changing, always fresh. Here's some great ceviche. They make this thing called crunchy avocado. It's affordable. There's lots of vegetarian and vegan options. And this is the only place in town that makes a really big meal-sized salad. They also do movies on Sunday nights, mostly art house movies in Spanish. And they also have a monthly market, which is like an artisan market where people have their homemade crafts and goods that they showcase here. It's everything from clothing to jewelry, bags, home decor, and it's a great way to bring the community together all in one place under sunset. And they've also recently started a great brunch, as you can see here. It's pretty bitchin'. One of the unfortunate drawbacks about living at the beach is that there aren't really any playgrounds. And even this one in Zicatela, which is basically the only one, you can't really use it most of the day because it's just too hot, and I guess nobody's thought about making some shade around it. So here we are at night on Halloween, you know, getting our slide on. I wanted to show this footage because these two cuties, Luna and her best friend Reggie, they're just too adorable to pass up. But it's pretty beautiful for a playground. Next up, we got Elephant Garden. This is my favorite place to have breakfast in Zicatela and maybe even Puerto Escondido. It has a beautiful garden in the back. It's not on the beach, but the menu is wonderful. It's only open till 3 p.m. and only 5 days a week with a break in the middle of the week, so check before you go that it's actually open. Service is great, details are great. I mean, I recommend this place to so many people who want to really see the real Puerto Escondido, kind of like where locals eat. These little paths in along the beach here on the other side of the street, so it's kind of cute. Spirulina. This is a really interesting spot right at the end of the beach. It's kind of the only other place I would eat. They have great tacos, they have vegan and vegetarian options, it's a juice bar, they serve chlorophyll water and other kind of hippie stuff, but also all the UFC fights are shown here. Finally, Wana. So just past the Zicatela eyesore unfinished hotel at the end of the strip, there is a little path that leads down to a well candle-lit spot. It's got this really like Bali feel to it. It's like a Narnia garden off the beach in the back. It's got a bunch of kind of food stalls, almost like food trucks that you can order different foods and then grab a drink at the bar. It's all cash and carry. The vibes here are like you're being exported, you know, totally to another place. So this is the entrance to La Punta. The way that Puerto is laid out is that the highway connects every beach and you kind of turn off depending on what beach you want to go to. So now we're here at like the cross. The beach is on the right, but this little bit of beach road that Luna's walking on here, this is like the end of the road. There's restaurants and stores. And when you actually get to the very end right here, it opens up into the beach. Beach is super beautiful here, and much like Zicatela, a lot of the year it's not easy to swim in or safe to swim in. But this particular footage is when we were at the beach, and it was the least amount of waves I've ever seen. I've never just walked out into the beach with Luna into the water, no problems, and we've gotten to do it more this year than ever before. This is Danielle, her surf instructor, and they're just heading out to hang 10 there and catch some waves, which is pretty damn adorable. Sunset is the big thing in La Punta. Everybody comes for sunset. They have beers and hang out. These are some circus school guys that take care of the kids for free and just do circusy stuff with them on the beach during sunset, which is really sweet. It really adds to the community vibe. But it's mostly hippies and hipsters and young parents watching the sun go down almost every day at La Punta. Moringa is the only natural store in La Punta. It also is one of the most extensive ones in all of Puerto Escondido. It's right at the very entrance to the beach at the end of that road. They've got everything here. It's a little overpriced when you stock it up next to Senior Salud in Puerto Verde, but they do have a lot of products here you can't get anywhere else, and a lot of locally made artisanal stuff, and it's absolutely worth a go, even if you're just gonna get yourself a cookie. This is how pretty it is at the end of that street, you know, all these little stores. It's very cute, it's very boho. Lychee is an institution in Puerto Escondido. If you're a foreigner like me who grew up in a city with a lot of Asian influence, then you are used to eating Asian food. And Lychee is the Thai food place in town. It's always packed. The food is pretty good. I mean, I've had a lot worse in Mexico, and I definitely am not hating on it. It's been a godsend for me. And we sometimes make the trip out there just for that. Chicama is a Peruvian restaurant just up the road from Lychee, and it's a very casual atmosphere. The food is mostly raw fish, but it is the best place, if not one of the best, in town for raw fish. I mean, the best ceviche for sure in town is at Chicama. It's also, everything's really made with love. There's a lot of really interesting cocktails on the menu that complement the dishes. It's a great place to go with friends and family and do like shared tables. The chef and his girlfriend are also wonderful people. Rebel Society is basically the punk rock bar in town. It's, you know, a resto bar, but it reminds me a lot of a place I love in Toronto called the Bovine Sex Club, which is like pretty much one of my favorite punk rock bars in the world. It's got a real punk rock aesthetic. They do vegan junk food as well as regular junk food. It's a cute place to go with kids early, and I'm sure there's a lot of fun to be had here at night. El CINE, this is the movie theater in town. It's got a kind of beach put together with elastic bands feel, but like also met with a legit cinema. It's really cute. It has this great old school small town vibe, but they do show, you know, current movies. We saw Frozen 2 here. You know, Luna went bananas, Peter Pants ran around the theater, and like nobody cared.